From Turner Broadcasting, Trisha Melton.
Thank you. Hi. How are you guys today? So we're switching gears from Scandal to Dallas, so from one soap to another. So it should be a pretty entertaining little period of time for you. I want to kick off talking a little bit about, oh, hang on a minute. Here we go. There we go. I'm going to talk to you today about Dallas and what it is like bringing back a classic television series with all of the iconic status that it had and how we went about doing that.
Extortion, ambition, it's our family tradition. Turns out we want the same thing.
You're lying. You'll never be a you. Stop all this feud.
Conspiracy.
Bribery. Don't turn your back on me.
What the hell am I doing in your bed? I want proof.
I will not confess.
There's certainly a mess.
She's back in heat. Back in heat. Back in heat.
Screw you, Blade. I love Rebecca.
So who the hell are you?
Pamela Barnes.
I love you.
Uncle Bobby. That's my father.
My brother.
John Ross' cousin.
I'll see your father.
Sweetheart.
Open this door.
You can count on me.
But I ain't a whore. Just drill.
Baby.
Drill.
Baby.
Drill.
Baby.
Drill.
Behind your father's back. Surprise attack.
I'm an oil man. In my DNA.
Love. Hate. Jealousy. Makes you up and make a mean martini.
Is this some kind of joke? Nice little joke. It is no joke. Extortion, ambition.
It's our family tradition.
We're family.
So I wanted to show you that video because I think it's really a good metaphor for how we approach the campaign, which is about embracing the iconic, classic nature of the show, but finding a way to do it in a modern, irreverent, fun way. So that video actually is on YouTube and went viral immediately the minute we put it out, about 1 million videos and counting. So how do you go about relaunching a classic TV show? I think the thing that was important to understand was, A, it's not as easy as it looks. It's actually fraught with peril. Charlie's Angels, anyone? So we knew going into it that was actually a real challenge. And not only that, the fans were skeptical. I mean, the diehard, classic Dallas fans were quite frankly skeptical when we went out and started doing research and talking to them because, as you would imagine, they cherished the show and they didn't want anybody mucking about with it. So it was very important for us to begin to communicate that this series was really a continuation, not a remake. And that we modernize it and we make it relevant and contemporary for today. So tricky, frankly. So the way that we approached that, the strategic insight was really about bringing the Ewings to life, literally every way that we could, really embracing the mythology of the Ewing clan. And the insight for that came actually from a conversation I had with Mike Robin, who is one of the executive producers on the show. As we were talking about this, and we spent a lot of time talking about the development of this series and how to approach it, he said the Ewings have been there all along. We're just shining the light back on them. That's how they were approaching the storytelling and developing the show, and that really struck a chord with us, and that was a real strategic insight from which to build on. So that's what we did. We embraced the mythology of Dallas. We embraced the mythology of the Ewings, and we created a truly social by design campaign that brought them to life in every aspect, from Twitter to Facebook. In our campaign, in our world, JR, Bobby, John Ross, Christopher, the whole group of them are real, and they tweet and Facebook just like the rest of us. So we had a three-prong approach that we took. Meet the characters, live Dallas, and then declare allegiance. And I'll take you through a little bit about how this came to life. So the first thing that we did was we rolled out what we call Dallas Quickies on Twitter. The original series were over 300 episodes. We boiled those down to a 140-character tweet and rolled them out over a series of days, like 4 a day leading into the premiere. Again, capitalizing on the nostalgia of the show, but doing it in a fun, very irreverent way. And I'm sorry that's not popping up quite on the screen the way it should be, but we'll keep going. Ah, there we go. So just for example, This is from season 2, episode 5. Sue Ellen, obsessed with having a baby before Pam, found herself black market baby mama. Nix that Brando crazy. And that was the tonality that we took and with each and every one, and it was really fun. There's another one. Bobby and JR in plane crash. Down in swamp, gross, scared the ladies but survived. You get it. Very quickly and succinctly.
Dallas in a Minute or Less, Season 1, Episode 6. Christopher brings sexy back on DVD. Rebecca shows up with a gift and a secret.
How far along are you?
Vicente hits John Ross where it hurts.
You are not a good dancer.
Marta takes Crazy to cuckoo.
They have been following me all day.
Bobby apologizes to Ryla.
I apologize.
Totally means it. Marta wants to make another sex tape.
What is wrong with you?
Can't find a co-star. Christopher's a baby daddy, also a bit of a crier. Marta dismounts her balcony, doesn't stick the landing. Bobby stokes the fire. With lies. John Ross gets arrested.
What crime?
Yeah, what crime? Blackmail? Espionage?
The murder of Veronica Martinez?
Oh, murder. Dun dun dun.
That led to the evolution of the video quickie, which is how we now recap each of the episodes in the new series. So, moving along from that.
This summer, the landmark series Dallas returns to TNT. And we were challenged to modernize the show with a social campaign that would introduce the iconic series to new viewers. But how do you engage a fan base that's been dormant for 20 years and attract a new, younger audience that hadn't grown up with the show? The answer, the Dallas Facebook timeline and this guy.
I hate to hit a man below the belt, but you know I will.
We set out to retell the entire history of Dallas through the eyes of J.R. Ewing, one of TV's most iconic and sinister characters. From the very first moment of the original series
Just plain trash.
through the present day of the new show, viewers could relive every backstab,
Interesting than the slut I'm looking at right now.
every double cross, and every memorable moment through one man's wildly biased perspective. But the original series ended in 1991, so what about the past 20 years? We bridged this enormous gap by having JR fill us in on the missing decades, how he saw fit. Fans of the original series engaged like never before. The timeline opened a floodgate of old memories and sparked raging debate over the lost years. In the end, the man we all love to hate led to an unprecedented level of engagement for a TV fan page. Even the world's most respected newspaper and the vice president of marketing for Facebook took notice, calling the Dallas timeline the best and most innovative example of timeline to date. After 2 weeks, Dallas received over 500,000 new likes. Our daily page engagement was up 5,000% to over 700,000. Over 380,000 people, an increase of almost 6,000%, were talking about us, resulting in a daily viral reach of over 20 million, all leading up to what will be TNT's biggest original series launch to date.
So everything that we've done with Facebook has been through JR's point of view and through JR's voice. We've continued that even with the recent events. The story is still told on Facebook now through John Ross's point of view, but it's been a highly effective storytelling, and it really captures the essence of what I mean by embracing the mythology of the Ewing clan. We also know that this audience of women are huge social gamers, so we created a game called Rise to Power. Basically, this is fantasy football for women. Pick your person, then your social activity helps them rise or fall each week. Tweet, follow, like, you name it. We also...
I can fix a 4-course meal, go toe-to-toe with my crooked brother-in-law, and hide the liquor from Sue Ellen. Not that I'd have to hide it. She's totally off the bottle now.
Declare allegiance with the Dallas Rise to Power game at dallastnt.com/rise to power.
I'm Ann Ewing, and I will rise to power.
We created spots for every character to help promote this. And last but not least, we had an amazing partnership with JetBlue, who actually was opening a new route from Boston actually into DFW. So we were able to do a Texas-sized 5-acre living billboard where the Ewings, the Ewing brothers, of course, welcomed JetBlue to Dallas in true Ewing style. It's actually an environmental billboard from the artist Stan Hurd, which garnered a tremendous amount of press attention, over 140 outlets and 233 media impressions. So that is a snapshot of how we brought Dallas back to life.
Joining Trisha, Hill Holiday's Austin Gardner-Smith.
How are you, Trisha?
I'm good.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for joining us. We're really happy to have you here, and obviously what you guys have done with Dallas over the last couple of months has been really impressive, so thank you very much.
Well, happy to be here. It's been really fun. It's been a fun ride.
Good. The first thing I want to ask you about is something that you touched on really briefly in your presentation, but I think has had a big effect on the show and certainly the viewers, and that's the unfortunate death of Larry Hagman and how you guys dealt with that, both in terms of the show and the plot as it was scripted, but also in terms of the social media impact that had and how you guys have worked around that.
Sure. Well, obviously, it was actually truly a shock. I mean, Larry was certainly, certainly had reached a certain age. He was a man of a certain age, but it was actually a true shock to us when he passed away so suddenly. And the tricky thing with adopting a strategy like this is that when you're faced with a situation when an actor and a character actually dies, it's tricky. So the challenge was the show actually wrote the storyline to deal with Larry's death, and obviously we had the death of JR, but it didn't happen. You don't actually end up there until episode 7. So we had a period of time where we had to deal in the social media space with what do we do with the character. We made the strategic decision essentially to keep the character alive. Our Facebook timeline still stayed through JR's voice because he was alive in the show. His character was still alive. So we dealt with that, obviously tastefully, but through that lens. And the same thing with Twitter accounts as well. So we followed the storyline of the show and stayed true to that editorial storytelling. It was a very delicate walk, a big balancing act there.
I can imagine. It sort of begs a little bit larger question about the new role of social media in plot development and how you deal with the interplay both on the show and in social media of characters and sort of how to deal with the writing of the show. And there's sort of a fine line where you don't want the social media to get out ahead of the plot line, and I'm sure that there's an interesting interplay between the writers there and the social media folks on your side. Can you talk a little bit about how that relationship works?
Absolutely. The process from the beginning was completely collaborative with not only the writers but the studio. Warner Brothers is the studio, as our studio partner on this show. So when you take on, starting to really tell a story in the social space, you have to deal with those conversations, very quickly, very directly, and everybody has to be on board. Which Warner Brothers was very much on board. We went to the writers and the executive producers. They loved the idea and actually have worked with 2 of the show writers every step of the way. They have written and contributed to every piece of content that we have pushed out in the voice of the characters, whether it was on Twitter or Facebook or anywhere in the social space. But it was a very articulated, collaborative approach.
I can imagine. And another thing that I would imagine is a little bit of a challenge or certainly requires some strategic thinking is how to deal with responding to people or how to dictate the level of engagement that you have on social media. I'm thinking particularly of Facebook, where there are 1.3 million people as of today sort of following the show, liking and commenting and doing things like that. How did you guys come to a decision about what level of engagement to have in terms of responding to fans on that page?
Well, 2 things. One, we had a wealth of content. That was, the beauty of it is we had so much. We have 15 years of backstory that we could fill in and tell. So we had a tremendous amount of content. The content piece or having content to push was not the challenge. It was obviously sort of managing and making sure that we weren't overwhelming. So it was really just a matter of test and modulate. And really starting to understand what people were gravitating to and how much to push and what kinds of content that fans were truly soaking up. So a lot of it was very real time. Try it, let's see if it works, we'll pull back, we'll push forward. So.
Right. And it seems like you guys did that on a number of platforms as well, sort of evolving the quickies from Twitter and making those video based shorts. Can you talk about how those decisions come to life and sort of as you see an opportunity to develop, what are the steps that you take to sort of make that real?
Sure. Well, the transitioning from the Twitter quickie to a video quickie was actually very easy because we told the story essentially via Twitter with the 300 episodes, and we were doing the Twitter quickies for the existing episodes as well. But then it became we started to see how much fans responded to the video content, particularly when we have a lot of fun with the characters. So that quickly led us to, okay, let's do this in a video format. This will work perfect for YouTube as well. And so we just evolved it, and we just took it to the next level. But we did that again very quickly. I mean, we wrapped up the season in September, and we were relaunching by January. So it was a quick evolution.
Right. And as you're thinking about these new formats and different things, how much do you guys consider what platforms to be on and where you maybe shouldn't be? Because I think making that decision of what platforms not to participate in is probably just as hard and just as important as deciding where to be. You
know what? It is so easy to want to do everything and be everything to all people, and that is the biggest strategic imperative that I think that we bring to this, which is focus. Really understanding who our audience is, and it's women. And where they actually are and what they're doing. And so that's why Facebook was really the main priority for us, although we're now looking at Instagram and paying attention to Pinterest and determining, what's the right place. But, quite frankly, we won't be on Reddit with Dallas.
Right.
So.
And one thing that I'm personally interested in, too, is just sort of how your team and your staff has been structured to have this sort of multi-channel storytelling going on all the time. Who are the sort of core group of people that you guys are relying on to make those content decisions, both on the show and also in the social media platforms where you're participating?
Well, I have a social media team that reports into me that handles all of the sort of editorial content calendars that works, and we work very closely with all of our different producing partners and studio partners to figure out the best way to tell these stories, because that's essentially what we're doing. We're storytellers. We're content developers. We're storytellers. So it's just how do we continue? What's the best way to continue to tell those stories in the social space? Because that's honestly what the audience now wants and has come to expect.
Great. I want to flip to Twitter for a second and take a question from Kevin Purser, who asks, are there any plans for Dallas Quickies on Vine, which seems like a sort of a perfect platform for that, so it ties well to the platform discussion we were just having.
I like that. I'll give Gray's the agency that we work with. I'll give Gray that challenge. I need a 7-second Vine recap.
That'd be a good one.
I like it.
Are there any other platforms? You mentioned Instagram, but are there others that you've considered or things that are coming out? I'm thinking about maybe Pinterest or something like that. Or are there places that you guys are finding lots of Dallas content out there that you're not generating that it feels really tempting to jump in, other than something like Vine, which is sort of at the tip of everyone's tongue?
Primary focus for Dallas is still Facebook. We are looking at Pinterest. I think there is a lot we can do with Pinterest and that, and Instagram as well. Again, both primarily driven by women. I think the thing for us is, okay, understanding what is the consumer behavior and what do they want from those platforms in terms of what kind of storytelling we can bring. And I want us to continue to embrace the mythology of the Ewings. So, and to do that, appropriately. So.
Right. Well, great. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing how the rest of the season unfolds.
Thank you.